To see you. Once a coach,
Thanks.
always
Great
a coach.
to be here, Scott.
Give us your perspective of this matchup and give us some of the emotion that goes through your mind when your alma mater takes on the team that as recently as 2 years ago you were prowling that far sideline.
Well, I tell you what, when I set up this game or scheduled it, it was going to be a big game for me because I felt that the two programs were heading in the same direction. I thought they were right down the road. And as a coach of East Canton, I said, why travel 2 hours away to play a team that's a little bigger than you when you can get a good rivalry going with a team 10 minutes away?
Now, last year, a very competitive contest, and here Timken takes the ball late in the contest, goes 99 yards, consuming 7.5 of the final 9 minutes of play to win it 27-21. Could we potentially see that sort of competitive contest here today?
I think we will. I talked with Coach Hedrick earlier in the week, and he said, the kids have a little rivalry. There's a little tension between the two squads. I think East Canton felt that they should have won the game last year, and so they want a little payback.
The Hornets have already matched their win total of a year ago. They were 2-8 last year, 2-1 this year, coming off an impressive 54-7 win over Malvern. Timken, on the other hand, their first two games went down to the last play of the game. They split those two. They had a rough outing over Canfield, but then again, Canfield considered one of the best teams in the state, top 10 material in their division. So we've got 2-1 against 1-2, and Coach, as we see the opening kickoff, we'll see how this thing is going to develop. Over the head of Petrak, this is Pierre Betts at his own 5-yard line to the 10, and the Trojans. That funny bounce, this time bouncing the Hornets' way, and Timken will be pinned deep in their own territory. What should the fans, from your perspective, watch out for in this ball game? What are going to be some of the keys to this contest?
I think the keys will be the athletes on both teams. If East Canton has enough athletes out there to handle the speed, the misdirection plays that Timken runs, and if Timken can get off to a fast start and keep East Canton out of the game early.
Josh Oler, number 19, will be the quarterback. He was a starter last year on defense. The wideouts, Pierre Betts to the far side. Haywood Freeman, so impressive as a freshman a year ago, and he's on that same pace this year. Splits wide to the near side as you look at things. The fullback, Barrett in motion, give off to the tailback, trying to find some running room. There's just not any. Good team tackling by the East Canton defense off the bottom of the pile for the Hornets. Kyle Eric, 3-year starter at quarterback. We're going to see a lot of players, Coach, going both ways here today.
Yes, definitely, especially from East Canton with the numbers, dressing freshmen as well, and Timken's doing the same thing, so they have a lot of kids going both ways.
And, of course, it's easy for us to sit up here and talk about that, but it tells me they've got to be in great shape physically and also mentally.
Yes, yeah, it takes a tough player to do that, and East Canton gives an award every year called the Iron Man Award to that person who can play every minute of every game.
Sean Petrak out of the ball game. Anthony Ruffin, number 30, at tailback. The fullback, Sean Barrett, number 36. And the give is to the fullback, Barrett, going off the right side of the line. That first play netted 2 yards. We'll see where they spot it here. It's going to bring up third down in about 6 or 7. And actually, from where they spotted it, will be 7 yards to go. Ball's on the 12-yard line. And again, Kyle Eric in on the stop. And, of course, you were the head coach when Kyle Eric became the starting quarterback as just a sophomore.
Just a sophomore, and he had a lot of responsibility. And on a team that was probably one of the best that East Canton's had in a few years. And he stepped up and did a great job, and now he's leading a team that everyone's counting on probably making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Running backs this time, Petrak and Barrett are split behind Josh Oler. Wide receivers both sides. The tight end, 47, Bruner, is to the far side. Oler running out of time, gets the ball away, intended for the tight end. Close but no cigar. Pete Foltz, a junior, on the coverage for East Canton. And he'll bring up a punting situation. So 3 and out for the Trojans, and from the Hornets' perspective, Coach, you've got a situation where they can get real good field position out of this.
Yes, that was a good series of downs. They stopped a play that tried to get out on the perimeter on the first play and a trap play on the second play. And they were successfully able to defend the pass play. So they've seen a lot of Timken's offense early, and they've done pretty well.
Sean Petrak is the punter. Gets the ball away under some pressure. This is Foltz. One bounce, picks it up at his own 41. That ball is loose. Strong hit, goes out of bounds. And I believe East Canton will keep it. They'll lose a little bit of yardage, and Mr. Foltz really took a pop, Jeff, on that one.
Yes, he did.
Well, coming out among the players, and I really hesitate on the high school level to mention any one particular player, but let's face it, number 3, Jake Jacobson, is really considered not only one of the leaders of the East Canton team, but perhaps one of the best running backs in Stark County.
Yes, he has tremendous speed, and he's definitely grown as an athlete. State qualifier in track. He's the 3-year starter on the basketball team. So, he's just an excellent athlete.
He's going to get the pitch back from Eric, the quarterback, turning the corner 45-40. Nice block out in front by number 42, Steve Orwick. And a nice gain. Let's see where they're going to spot it. I think they're going to get a first down out of it. And they will. Pickup of 11.
Good job of getting to the perimeter. Got a loss of contained by Timken there.
See Jim Craig, our referee today, well known in the local community, one of the outstanding officials in our area. Orwick is the wide receiver near side. Matt Boyle, who doubles as the place kicker to the far side. Joe Stocker is the fullback. Eric the quarterback. Jacobson the tailback. Again, Jacobson wrapped up by inside linebacker number 30, Anthony Ruffin. One of the developing stories, Jeff, as I see it, is the fact that in talking to your successor, the head coach of the East Canton Hornets, telling me that watch out for our athletes. There's 3, 4, 5 kids there, as you mentioned, who run track and all, and could match Timken speed for speed, step for step.
Yes, and that's the beauty of, I think, of this team for them this year. They've always had some big guys that could hit it up in there, but now they have speed and quickness to add to that mix.
Again, Jacobson, he's been the workhorse, and a nice job defensively following the play. That's number 47, David Bruner, who got a lot of playing time as a sophomore, and is back as both the tight end and one of the linebackers on defense for Mike Hedrick.
One of the things we'll see from both teams are running the same defense today. They're both running a 5-3, so it's a little bit like blocking in practice.
Sure.
You see that every day.
So we're not talking about too many surprises here. We're talking about execution more than anything, right? That was a gain of 2, 3rd and 8, so we may see East Canton put the ball up for the first time. Man in motion is Orwick. Nope, they're going to keep it on the ground. Jacobson trying to turn the corner. Sean Petrak. Bruner gets the assist. They'll mark him out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
That young man did a great job of keeping contained out there. Great job.
It's going to bring up 4th down, and we're going to call it 6. Ball to 31, and I'm going to guess this might be 4-down territory for the Hornets. Even if you don't make the first down, you're not giving up that much in terms of field position. And sure enough, Kyle Eric comes out. Wide receivers both sides. They got a man in the slot. That's Jacobson. Watch out for him. He matched up with Haywood Freeman. And we got a whistle. I don't know, too much time or maybe some movement.
Looks like it could be.
Wait, Timken's reacting. Looks like it's against East Canton. And that might change the philosophy of Dan Patterson in terms of what he's going to do. Dead ball. Call it procedure. Call it false start.
False start in the offense.
False start, the official terminology in high school. So it's going to be more like 11 yards to go. Ball at the 36. But no, they're going to give it another go. Looks like the same formation, except Jacobson now to the far side in the slot. I would think he's dangerous as a receiver as well. Kyle Eric, 3-year starter under pressure, got his arm hit, ball's up for grabs and right through the arms of number 8.
Wow, if he catches that, he's still running.
And maybe he took a quick glance downfield. Jesse James, who was a little bit banged up, but from the Timken perspective, glad to see him out there. Now, in his defense, that pass was a little wobbly. It wasn't a tight spiral, maybe a little surprised it was coming his way, but from the Timken perspective, the good news, they hold on downs, they'll take over. Pretty nice field position, thanks in part to the penalty, with the ball on their own 36-yard line.
Pretty good defensive series for Timken. Gave up the big play on the first play and was able to hold them down.
Well, considering how deep they were at the end of their first series, they've picked up a lot in terms of field position from their own 36. Barrett and Petrak in the backfield, Freeman in motion. And they give off to Petrak, looking for a block from Barrett. Now cuts it inside. Nice defense for the East Canton Hornets, easy for me to say. Off the bottom of the pile, number 37, Mickey McCauley, all 5'4", 152 pounds. But I understand pound for pound, he's as tough as they come, Coach.
Tough as nails. Tough as nails. You know, he's always been the smallest guy, so he has to fight. I'm really surprised that Timken's not having any success at getting on the perimeter. I thought that would be one of their strong points today.
Could be a good sign from the East Canton perspective, too, because you always think when you come to Fawcett Stadium, take on a Timken team, or for that matter, a McKinley club on this artificial turf, that Timken has the advantage, but so far, East Canton staying with them. First time in the backfield for Travis Walker, number 9. Quick pass over the middle, complete to the tight end, Bruner. Good for a first down near midfield. We'll call it 49-yard line. That's a 13-yard pickup. And a first down, Josh Oler to the tight end, David Bruner.
Great play call by Coach Hedrick. They must have saw something, but East Canton vacated a linebacker on a blitz there, and tight end replaced him.
Bruner, his third catch on the season, Coach, and he add on his yardage. He's averaging about 10 yards per catch. Betts and Freeman, again the wideouts. That's Betts to the bottom of the screen. The running backs are split. Anthony Ruffin back there now with Walker. Walker gets the call, and first time in this game inside, the Timken has positive yardage. They'll get 5 or 6 on the play.
Travis Walker.
You talked about it when we got together yesterday, Jeff, that you felt the line play was going to be, as it always is, but how do you see these lines matching up? You feel one team may have an advantage?
Yeah, you know, coming in, I thought Timken had an advantage. Seeing them play field and how physical field was, and Timken was able to move the ball on them. I knew that East Canton had some young guys who didn't get much playing time last year, so I gave Timken a nod up front.
Ray Hoover over the ball at center. At the guards, Terrence Miles and Matt Dreas. Josh Yako and Justin Stewart are at the tackles. Bruner the tight end. Big hole straight up the middle. First down and more at the 35-yard line. That's going to be an 11-yard pickup for number 9, Travis Walker, who led Timken with 79 yards rushing versus Cloverleaf. I told Mike Hedrick this when he appeared with Tom Delamater on a recent Coach's Corner, Jeff. I believe where Timken has a lot of value and depth is in that backfield. When you've got the likes of number 8, James, number 9, Travis Walker, returnee, and 21, Sean Petrak, a newcomer who's done a nice job, 36, Sean Barrett. They got some depth in that backfield.
Yes, they do, and I tell you what, and they're picking the holes right now. The linebacker and the nose guard for East Canton are playing a little game, and Timken's guessing absolutely right the last 2 plays.
Number 84, Manny Hosenbeck, starter on defense, in there now at tight end, giving Bruner a break. The big fullback, Barrett, he's met head on.
They're just going to keep feeding it in there. There's a big bubble. We coaches like to look for bubbles, and there's a big bubble in the middle of that East Canton defensive front right now.
44, Dan John. Now, talk about a guy who earns his pay. He had 20 combined solos and assists in terms of tackles in the Week 1 season opener. 18 more in week number 2. He's another player, number 44 at inside backer.
He started as a freshman at an inside linebacker, and we moved him down to nose guard, and he's been playing ever since. So he's been everywhere on that defensive front.
Leading tackler coming in today for the Hornets. The play call 2nd and 9. We've got a flag.
Delay again.
Timken taking a little too much time, so instead of 2nd and 9 from the 34, it'll be 2nd and 14 from the 39-yard line. Give us a chance to mention the officials here. Joining Jim Craig is Carl Davidson, Heine Schwarzler, and a couple of well-known names locally, Ray Poland as well, and Ed Macchia. Those are your officials here. From the 39-yard line, Oler, running backs are split. Looking for Freeman, now runs out of time, and Jacobson with the quarterback sack. As good as he is offensively, he's not too bad defensively either, Jeff.
Yes, he held on to the ball a few seconds too long, trying to decide what to do with it. It was good coverage downfield by the Hornets.
Yeah, he looked for Freeman, number 23, the wide receiver far side. He was covered. And by the time he tried to find a secondary outlet man, East Canton defense did the job. So the ball now back at the 45-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 20. Walker on the wing. James the other setback. Bruner the tight end, the only receiver to this side. Oler running out of time. Incomplete, looking for Jesse James on the coverage. Kyle Eric, and the heat being applied by 2 or 3 of the Hornets, including Jacobson and John.
Tell you what, I think we're going to be in for a ball game today. Just looking at Daniel John turn on the Jets and come from that linebacker spot. And then the Timken athletes on the other side of the ball for them on defense with the speed and running these guys down. So it might be a defensive struggle early.
Petrak, the punter, standing on his own 42. Back deep for the Hornets, Foltz, number 4 to the far side, and Matt Gooch to the near side. Nice punt, high. This is Foltz from his own 16 to the 20. And knocked out of bounds. We have a flag down at the 20-yard line. Special teams play by Ryan Hess, number 51. We're down at the 4:23 mark. Fast-paced first period of play. No score here at Fawcett Stadium. See what Jim Craig has to say. Block in the back on the return against the Hornets. So that's going to pin them deep, Jeff. By the time they mark this off, they're going to be inside the 15. When you're in a defensive struggle like this, field position becomes even more important, does it not?
Very important, very important. You know, and you've got teams that are stopping each other, and if you get pinned back, you're just making it a little easier on their offense.
First down, East Canton.
So half the distance, puts the ball on the Hornets' 11-yard line.
Can Timken stop the big play? East Canton's made a living on the big play in their first 3 ball games. If they do a job of stopping the big play, it should be successful defensively.
Yeah, Jacobson 2 touchdowns last week of 43 and 73 yards. He had 3 on the evening, and another flag down.
Looked like movement on one of the offensive linemen from East Canton on the left side.
You and I talked. My philosophy in covering high school athletics over 20 years has been that you can, this is part of the game, especially at the high school level. These are kids learning to play the game on the football field, and mistakes are going to happen. Turnovers are going to happen. I'm looking at you. You don't have too many gray hairs like I do, so apparently you learned that on the sidelines.
Yes, I call it, it's a kids' game, and they're going to make kids' mistakes.
That's right.
You just try to let them go out and have fun and play the game for just the pure joy of it.
Give to the deep man. Is that Dan John in there? Yeah.
Daniel John.
In there, number 44. Not too much, but again, East Canton just trying to get some room to operate. The ball is on their own 6-yard line. Call it no gain. 2nd and 15 from that point.
I would say up until second week of last year's season, Daniel John had more carries than Jake Jacobson. Jake was a wide receiver because of the depth at East Canton's running back when he was a sophomore.
Pitch back. This is Jacobson. Got a block from John. Cuts it inside. Gets it up to about the 9-yard line. And on the stop for Timken, number 35, sophomore Richard Stokes. Going to bring up 3rd and long, and when you're this deep, Jeff, in your own territory, I guess you've got a decision to make. Either you're going to try to surprise the opponent, or you're going to try to get some good field position for punting the football.
Yes, it's a no-win situation for a coach, because if you drop back and you throw a pass here and you complete it, everyone thinks you're a genius. But if something goes wrong, buddy, they're on your back.
Running backs in the eye, John and Jacobson. Fake to Jacobson under pressure, got the ball away. Intended receiver Gooch, but you can credit the Timken defense, Petrak, and also Ruffin applying the pressure.
They did a good job handling that play action. They've run the ISO a couple times, and they ran the play action pass off of that ISO and tried to hit the running back out in the flats.
Matt Gooch, the tight end, 6'3", nice size, nice target, about 180 pounds and just a sophomore. So Haywood Freeman will be back near midfield. The punter for East Canton is the quarterback, Kyle Eric. Talk about a triple threat, offense, defense, and special teams. Got it away, low line drive kick, and Freeman, I think, doing the right thing. Good coverage for East Canton. First down there, number 21, Nathan Irwin, a sophomore. And the ball will go out of bounds right around midfield. So again, in the early going, except for the first series, Timken winning the battle of field position, but we have no score with just under 3 minutes to play. Well, we mentioned Daniel John. How about coach some of the other East Canton kids that you might know? Maybe they were sophomores when you were over there. Now they're seniors. Who do we look for on defense out there?
We'll look at the defense. You have Joe Stocker, who was a linebacker, played a little bit as a freshman. We had a lot of freshmen play. They moved him from linebacker to defensive end, and he seems to be doing a good job making with that switch.
Fumble on the exchange. Walker lost the football. I don't think he ever really had it, and East Canton comes away with it.
Yes, East Canton has it. Turnovers.
And maybe
turn the game around.
Smallest player in the field comes away with it. We've mentioned his name before, Mickey McCauley, number 37 with the fumble recovery.
You know, you don't see a lot of guys running off the field for those East Canton. They just turn around and go the other direction. And that's something that's going to play a big factor in this game.
No question about it.
Later on in the game, they have to jump out early here and get a lead.
Nathan Butler is the wide receiver near side. Running backs in the eye. Gooch the tight end. Pressure, McKinley, and down. One of the newcomers to the program, Marcus Austin, a senior, number 38. Big play for Timken.
Big play. He got through there. Some missed assignment somewhere. Came in on a blitz and did a great job.
Now ball back in East Canton territory at the 43-yard line. Have to do some quick math here, Coach. 10, 11, 12, 13. We'll call it 2nd and 23. Loss of 13 on that sack. Kyle Eric. Going to blitz again. That's number 30 on
got the screen set up.
Jacobson got
Nice
one
move.
block. Another block. Jacobson in the open field. 45-40, 35-30. And finally with the angle, Pierre Betts running him out of bounds.
There's a big play. You know, it looked like they were setting that up on the previous play, but he didn't have enough time to get it off.
That play good for 35 yards. So everything they lost, they got back and then some, and they're in excellent field position. Deepest penetration for either club just inside 2 minutes. And you see why number 3 is so highly regarded. The wide receiver, Butler, near side. Steve Orwick, considered the leading receiver for East Canton, to the far side. Running backs in the eye. Jacobson lost the exchange, but it bounced right back to him, covered up by Marcus Austin.
Ball's on the turf a lot today.
Sure is. What's it like? You played here, as we mentioned the outset, for Canton Timken. What's it like for some of these East Canton players playing on this field for the first time with all the history that surrounds this stadium?
I tell you what, it's incredible. You know, when I told them, I said, you know, in 2 years we're going to be playing at Fawcett Stadium. They just lit up. And we even got kids who joined the program to have the opportunity to play here.
Talk more about that in a minute. Quick hitter to the fullback, and a nice job by Joe Stocker. So what happens, I'm sure, defensively, you key on number 3, and you saw what happened with number 33.
Yes, and they have them. They have a lot of those type kids on this team, and that's, you know, something. When I was there, my last year, I looked down the road and said, you know, we have these big linemen coming up, and look at all these guys that I also coached on the track team. So as a football coach, you look forward to having those track athletes on your team. 3rd
down, a long 2. Ball at the Timken 14, first scoring opportunity of the ball game. We'll see if the Hornets can cash in. Kyle Eric keeps the football. Good ball handling skills, and he will score.
Eric carries for a touchdown for East Canton.
Excellent move there on the option by Kyle Eric there, and then he made a great decision. He could have pitched it, but if you can run it to where the tailback's going to keep that ball.
At that time, the Timken defense went to the fullback, Stocker, who had a big gain on the first play. Man, when you've got that much talent in the backfield, I don't know who you try to key on. A touchdown coming with just 44 seconds to go in the first quarter of play. And now on to attempt the extra point is Matt Boyle out of the hold of Pete Foltz. Snap a little low. Nice job by Foltz, and no problem on the extra point by Boyle. So East Canton up on top by a 7-0 count.
They were able to capitalize on that turnover. Now we need the Trojans to answer this score.
Yeah, last year, as we mentioned, 48 points on the board, 27-21. Who knows? We'll have that much scoring here today. Did you get a chance to see that game last year? Or?
No, I didn't. I think I was actually out of town that weekend.
Now you were over, as memory serves. You've seen East Canton this year. Tell us about that experience.
Yes, I went over to watch the Hornet game. Hornet Trophy game between them and Malvern, which is their biggest rivalry. And East Canton got out early and scored on some big plays and actually scored on defense a couple of times. So, and that was a big victory for them. So they come into this game riding a big wave of confidence.
A lot of momentum there. Pierre Betts is number 20. Haywood Freeman, number 23. They'll be back deep. Matt Boyle, who now has 9 extra points in this week number 4 of the season, will be teeing up the football for East Canton. In case you're just joining us, East Canton taking a turnover, driving roughly half of the field and scoring on a 14-yard touchdown run by their 3-year starter at quarterback, Kyle Eric. And for him, that's his 2nd touchdown on the ground this year.
And Kyle Eric is also on the kickoff team.
Wow, amazing. He does everything but sell popcorn in the stands. I think a young man was offside way up at the top of your screen as you look at it. I think we'll be doing this again.
Yes, he was a little early. This is something you don't see a lot of, and there are quite a few starters on that kickoff team for East Canton.
And you look down, too, for Canton Timken. You've got Terrence Miles out there, 2-way starter. You've got Barrett, the starting fullback. You've got 35, Richard Stokes, who's a starter on defense. So
tells you these coaches value special teams play.
No question about it. In fact, as I'm looking, almost every starter for Timken, in fact, every starter for Timken sees some time at one position or another, either offensively or defensively. And I see Daniel John out there, as you mentioned,
right.
So as well as Mickey McCauley, who recovered that fumble that led to the touchdown.
Well, these young men will get a workout this afternoon.
That's right. They'll all sleep well tonight, that's for sure. Beautiful afternoon for football. I know we're replaying this at 10:30 on a Saturday night and 1 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, but as we join you, it's almost perfect football weather. And this time from the 20-yard line, that's Sean Petrak cutting back against the grain. Back to the 30. Inside, they're grabbing on, trying to rip that football out. Somehow Petrak holds on to it, and Timken will have pretty good field position at their own 33-yard line. That's a 13-yard return for number 21.
We'll see if the Trojans can get that inside running game on track again. Before they had the penalty, they were moving the ball pretty well. And the sack also set them back on that last drive.
First down.
See who's in the backfield. We've had Betts and Haywood Freeman go all the way at receiver. And we've got Travis Walker back there with Sean Barrett, as Mike Hedrick has been rotating 4 or 5 backs in the early going. Oler wants to put it up. He's looking for Betts, runs out of time, and is sacked. And his 2nd sack of the afternoon for Jake Jacobson.
Sacks in the backfield by Jake Jacobson.
Both teams having good success in terms of putting heat on the quarterback.
Yes, they are.
That might be the final play of quarter number 1. You know, fortunately, from the Timken perspective, it was only a loss of 1 yard as Oler got back near the line of scrimmage.
First quarter, Washington State 7, Ohio State 3.
Jesse James goes off the field, so when play resumes, we're going to have Barrett in the backfield, joined by Anthony Ruffin. End of 1 here at Fawcett Stadium, 7-0 the score. I didn't get a chance to talk to you about it, but I've mentioned it as far as my PA duties with Canton McKinley. We're talking about Fawcett Stadium, and there's a high school football publication published by the Sporting News, one of the major publications in terms of historical background. They've been in St. Louis for 100 years. They talk about the best places to watch a high school football game. Number 1 in the country, Fawcett Stadium in Canton, Ohio. How about that, Coach?
That's amazing, but it's definitely true. There's no place like Stark County for high school football.
Tell us about your experiences at Timken when you played, and maybe a few of your teammates, the coaches and the staff, and how'd the team do?
Well, I'll tell you, my first year, I came over from St. Thomas Aquinas after my freshman year, and my first year at Timken, we went 7-3, which happens to be the last winning team that Timken's had, and had great relationship with the coaches, and some of them, Coach Hurst is now in my building at the Freshman Academy, and Coach Lab. He's the athletic director. Mm-hmm. But, some of those coaches I'm still in contact with. Coach Sarball, who's the wrestling coach over at Hoover for a while. And, I got to come back and work with some of those guys, and they helped me get to where I am today. So I learned a lot from Timken football, and it was a good experience for me, and it's helped me get to where I am right now.
We'll talk about your new job as you're back with the system this year as time goes on. Right now, 2nd and 11 for the Trojans from their own 32, down 7-0. Pitch back to Anthony Ruffin. And Ruffin gets that corner turn and is close to first down. Some good hard running. Anthony Ruffin, starter on defense. Not too many opportunities to carry the football, but so far so good. He crosses the 40, 41-yard line, gain of 9, 3rd down and 2.
You know, that's a good problem to have when you have a lot of guys back there that you can get the ball to. And it seems that both teams have that right now because East Canton's mixing it up pretty well with the different backs.
And all these young men that we mentioned for Timken in the backfield, as well as for East Canton, also play on defense. So you know why now that they rotate. It's Barrett and Petrak. Big play here early going for Timken, down 7-0. See if they can keep this drive alive. They need 2. Fullback, Barrett fighting for yardage. It'll all depend on the spot. I think he might come up a bit short. We'll see. Actually, my opinion in something like this means absolutely nothing. That's what happens down on the field. Jim Craig's going to, I think, bring out the chains. He wants to be absolutely sure.
It looks to me like from this angle, it looks like he's going to be a little short.
Officials timeout for measurement.
And, of course, you got a coaching decision. I bet you it's going to be, just a matter of a foot or two. It's going to be less than a yard. Oh, boy, even closer.
Well, the fan in me says go for it, but
yeah,
you got an offensive team that just had a couple of big plays. I don't know if you want to give them the ball this close to your end zone.
I think they're going to go for it because Hosen Bacaz is the number 2 tight end, so they may go to a double tight end set. They're going to bring in Jesse James. Now, one option here, try to draw the opponent offside, and if you can't do that, take your 5-yard penalty and punt. We'll see. We'll see. I have to admit to you, as a fan of me, I want to see him go to 4 too. So they'll have a double tight end set with Freeman on the wing. It's Jesse James, number 8, and big number 36, Sean Barrett.
Real tight splits up front, so it looks like it's a quarterback sneak or some type of dive play.
Bowler's a strong runner. Yep, he's going to take it, and I think second effort got it for him.
Yes, it did. He was able to find the hole after that initial surge and get the first down.
I like that call. I really do. Even if they didn't get it, I'd say I'd like that call. Got to be aggressive out there. If you teach your players to be aggressive, I guess from a coaching philosophy, you have to be aggressive as well.
You have to take chances.
So first down, the drive continues. 11 minutes to go before halftime. East Canton 7, Timken nothing. But a big 4th down conversion for the Trojans, and Petrak will bring the play in from Mike Hedrick. How about the job that Mike Hedrick has done as far as rebuilding this Timken program? You know, it wasn't that many years ago that there was some talk, would there be enough players to field a team? And here you see it, the program has grown.
Coach has done a fabulous job. I grew up with his son, played baseball with him, and you know, he really cares about the young men in the community and works hard with them on and off the field.
And there's a good defensive play. A little bit of misdirection to Freeman off the wing spot. They've had success with that in the first 3 weeks of the season, but coming through big time for East Canton, number 58, Scott Schwab, the junior. I call that good scouting in terms of East Canton recognizing that play.
Great job there by Schwab on that play.
Petrak is out, bringing the play in Anthony Ruffin. Loss of, we'll call it 3 on the play, 2nd and 13 with the ball on the Timken 41-yard line. 9:50 to go. Quarter number 2, East Canton 7, Timken nothing. Bowler rolling out under pressure and dropped. This time it's number 11, the young sophomore, Matt Gooch.
Looks like Timken's having some trouble picking up the firing backers, and this time Gooch came from the weak side as an outside linebacker, got through a seam and was able to run down the quarterback.
It's another 3-yard loss to the 38, 3rd down and 16. So Timken, after converting on 4th down, now moving in the wrong direction from the Trojans' perspective. Jesse James will bring the play in from Mike Hedrick.
And when you look at those inside linebackers or those linebackers for East Canton, you're looking at 3 former track athletes, so they can run.
Freeman, the wide receiver, far side. Now they're looking at the tight end, Bruner, and East Canton's going to have to figure who's going to pick up who. Interesting formation. 4 potential receivers, far side. That's the way Oler is rolling. A little high for James. Coverage on the play, Nathan Irwin, number 21. Well-designed play. Nice block there offensively. We don't get to mention the offensive lineman too many times, but Josh Yako, number 70, threw a block, gave Oler time to throw it. Just a little too tall.
Yeah, they did a good job that time offensively. With the up front people did a good job giving him time. And the linebacker for East Canton was able to bounce outside and provide heat from the outside in that time.
So Petrak standing at his own 26-yard line. It's Foltz back deep with Gooch. Mentioned Matt Gooch. They're a pair of Gooch brothers on the East Canton squad. Foltz back at his own 26-yard line. Cannot get out of the grass. Nice play. Open field tackle. Pierre Betts, number 20.
It's a great tackle by Mr. Betts there. That's not something that's easy to do. Catch a guy in the open field.
You know, Betts at 5'11", bringing down a young man, 6'3".
Kind of a penalty flag back on the
way back.
38-yard line.
I'm curious what this is. Procedure call against Timken. Yeah, now he's Canton with the decision to make.
I'd say make him punt it again.
Try to pick up some more field position. Now, as I understand the story, Dan Patterson was an assistant on your staff before taking over. Tell us a little bit about Dan.
Yes, Dan is a East Canton native, and when I was hired, he's one of the first people that I met, and I felt that I needed someone in the town to give me that perspective on the tradition of the program. And my coaching philosophy, I feel that you have to bring back that tradition. So I brought him on staff, and he informed me of some of the things that went on in the past that were missing, because they had a lot of coaching changes. And we worked really hard to instill that in the kids. In the 2 years that I was there, he was very influential. So when I decided to go into administration, I went to the superintendent and said, if you want to continue the success, this is the man you need to hire. And he felt the same way.
That's great.
Thankfully, and hometown boy gets a shot, and he's doing a great job.
Nice kick, Petrak. Boy, he boomed this one, forcing the returnee Gooch back to his own 22-yard line to the 25. Nice return, weaving his way through up to the 35-yard line. A gain of 13 yards in that return. Tackled by Anthony Ruffin.
Flag on the play.
Oh, another flag.
We might have another illegal block. This will be the second one.
Guess who's down on the field? The quarterback, Josh Oler, number 19. We talked about special teams, and this could be a devastating blow for the Trojans. So we got two things we're looking for now: the penalty, which will go against the Hornets, and the condition of the starting quarterback. Mike Hedrick out on the field with the trainer. I think I was so concerned about Josh Oler, I didn't pick up the flag other than the fact it was a 15-yard penalty.
Yes, it was.
Was it a block in the back?
Yeah. Legal block in the back.
We saw it quite a bit even last night, called 2 or 3 times in the McKinley.
There was a change in the rule for the clipping penalty, and I think that the kids are having a hard time adjusting.
Just off your screen, but maybe the best news of all is number 19 back on his feet and leaving the field under his own power.
That's good news. I don't know if it was a cramp or something like that, which when you're playing both ways on a day like today, in the afternoon when you're used to playing at night, those things happen a lot.
Yeah, he'll get a breather now with the defense on the field. East Canton following the penalty all the way back at their own 11-yard line. Approaching the 8-minute mark, second quarter. The Hornets with the ball in a 7-0 lead. Daniel John takes about 4 Trojans to bring him down up at the 20-yard line, very close to a first down. And for Timken off the bottom of the pile, one of the newcomers, 38, Marcus Austin.
Marcus Austin.
Well, you've got Jacobson back there, you've got John back there, you've got Stocker, so East Canton, just like Timken, showing great depth in the backfield.
Like I said, it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, no question.
I've coached many teams where you didn't have enough
You
bodies
look up and
back
down the depth, up and down the bench and said, well, who do I put in now? But no problem for these two teams. I see they're taking Boyle and Butler, rotating them at wideout, number 18 and number 19. In a double tight end set right now. Pitch back, Jacobson, good penetration by Ruffin, and he wraps up the ball carrier for a loss.
Great defensive play by the Trojans on that play. To defend the option, you have to be a very disciplined football team, and they showed discipline right there and played their responsibilities well.
There's Anthony Ruffin wearing the number 30, made famous here at Timken by Mr. Hope, who had several outstanding years here at Timken. A play that would make Mr. Hope rather proud, so to speak. Inside 7 minutes to go. Third down, we're going to call it about 5 or 6 now. Ooh, fumble on the exchange. The ball is loose. Bruner picks it up for Timken. He is going to score. How quickly things can change.
A game of big plays here. Looks like a problem with the center quarterback exchange there, which something you don't expect from a 3-year starter at quarterback, and the center's been at center for 2 years.
The way the ball is bouncing here today, I mean, you know, that may seem like it's Bruner will set up for an important extra point, but you know, you talk about artificial turf and the ball taking funny bounces, and it sounds like a cliche, but that's exactly what's happened in this game on several occasions. Well, you just scored a touchdown. Now you have to compose yourself for the extra point. Bad snap, but there's flag down. Like there's 3 flags down if you want to be specific before I think the play ever got underway.
I think East Canton might have had 1 man too many on the field because there was someone trying to run off.
That's a real break for Timken because that was a tough snap to handle. That's exactly right. I think the official calls a legal substitution, but too many men on the field would be the layman's terms. Now, interesting call for Mike Hedrick. He's still going to kick the point as you move the ball closer. Might you try for 2? I don't know.
Depending on what type of kicker you have and what confidence you have in your snapper and your holder combination, the coaches have a chart, and the chart says you kick it here. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, and again, you mentioned a good point. The holder, I might add, is a young freshman, John Boston, number 16. Well, Mike is saying, Mike called a timeout. He turned, and I thought he put up 2 fingers, and I know he wasn't saying B for victory, so I'm thinking that he might consider going for 2. But, you know, on the other hand, as a coach, you want to build the confidence of the place kicking and get the place kicking. You know, Timken has had their problems in that department. I know once or twice I can remember over the years they brought in someone from the soccer team. You know, that's another cliche, but it's always worked. But, you know, Bruner does so many different jobs. It'll be an interesting call for Timken.
Well, you know, that the penalty moved it a little bit closer. They've had success running the ball, and maybe they saw something in the goal line defense there from East Canton that they thought they might be able to take advantage of.
My guess is they may very well go for 2 here. Let's see what happens. Part will be if you don't see number 16 in there, Boston, and I don't at this point, I think they'll go for 2. You see Josh Oler back in there.
I tell you what, the thing that I've noticed from Timken in the game that I watched him play this year and even last season against Central Catholic, when good things happen, these kids feed on it, and they get better and better and better.
That's a great point. That's exactly right. You talk about momentum, and so here we're going to go to the 3-back backfield. Petrak 21, Barrett 36, the deep man Jesse James. And indeed, Trojans will go for 2. This could be a big play. It's James, and he's in.
Boy, did they open up a hole. I think I could have got through that hole there.
I'd like to think I could, but I'm not sure. You're right. And Petrak and Barrett leading the way.
What a nice football.
That was a timeout well spent because Timken now grabs an 8-7 lead with 6:40 mark to go before halftime. Hey, this is an entertaining ball game.
It's going to be a ball game of big plays and athletes versus athletes, and it's what fans like to see. I don't know if coaches like it too much, but
well, I know if we get too many points on the board, the defensive coordinators and your former head coach in particular might not be too thrilled.
Well, won't be too happy.
Yeah, it's funny, if memory serves me right, and it was a heartbreaking loss to field, you mentioned you were here, they went into overtime, they got a field goal, Timken did score, but was called back due to penalty. If they had won that game, it would have been the first 2-0 start at Timken since your ball club.
Yes, it would have been. And, you know, that was a heartbreaker. Those kids played hard. They got down early. They kept fighting, and they came back. And, you know, when the kids face adversity like they did, and their backs against the wall and take it down and score that touchdown in overtime, that shows you a little bit about their character. And I was really impressed with these young men.
Well, Mr. Bruner picked up a loose football and scored. He's going to kick off for Timken. Jacobson, far side. Of course, he has one kickoff return for a score. He returned the opening kickoff 75 yards to pay dirt versus Sandy Valley. I love some of his runs for touchdowns for Jacobson. 73, 75, 86. Go the distance, to say the least.
See, Canton, in track and field, he's probably one of the fastest guys in the state in that Division III track and field tournament. And he might be one of the fastest guys in the state, period.
They may want to kick away from him. They won't, though. It's Jacobson from his own 11 to the 15 to the 20. Trying to find a hole. 25, 30. Flag is down. 35, 40. Might come back, but he's all the way out to midfield. Finally run out of bounds by a youngster sophomore, Larry Rice.
And there he is again, showing that athletic ability. And that's something he didn't have as a younger athlete. You know, he had the speed, but he just didn't have the quicks in his feet, you know, to make a move like that. And he's grown up. He's gotten stronger. And now he's developed into a well-rounded athlete.
See what Jim Craig has to say about this. Holding the Hornets. So a chance to start at midfield will be negated. And from where they're spotting the football, looks like East Canton will be back around their own, let's say between the 20 and 25. Jim Craig marking it off as we speak.
It'll be first down, East Canton.
And they'll mark it on the 24-yard line. 6.5 minutes to play here, back and forth. It's been a good ball game here, and Timken is on top by a count of 8-7.
East Canton has had success with the screenplay, a couple of sweeps, so look for them to go back to that here on this drive.
Get Orwick to the far side, near side Nathan Butler. Eric turns, hands to Jacobson. Stocker out in front and upended by Jesse James across the 30-yard line to about the 33.
And that was a stretch play, and they were able to get them, you know, everyone's zone blocking this way, and did a great job of getting that corner.
Between the 32 and the 33. Second down along 2.
Second down and 3 from the 33.
East Canton coming in at 2-1. Timken at 1-2. Hornets off a big win. And Timken off a shutout defeat against one of the top-ranked teams in their division, Canfield. I guess one nice thing about sports in general, maybe high school football and high school sports in particular, at least you can close the page. It's a whole new week.
Yes.
To overcome what's going on. So second, as I say, we're calling it a long 2. Eric calling the signals, looking over the Timken defense. This is Jacobson. Drop for a loss. Barrett, 36, and number 30, Ruffin. And we called number 30's name quite a bit.
Yes, he's having an excellent ball game. They did a good job of getting penetration, and that's against that ISO play that East Canton's running. You don't want any penetration, so they got in and were able to get behind the lead blocking back and make the tackle.
Now it's going to be third down and a long 3 versus a short 2, so a loss of a yard on that play. And Jacobson's going to get a break. We're going to go with Daniel John, 44 at tailback, along with Joe Stocker, 33 at fullback. And East Canton going to put it up. Hosen-Bequez applying the pressure, passes away, a little short, and you can credit Hosen-Bequez pressure on that. The intended receiver, the tight end, Matt Gooch.
Brings up fourth down for East
Good scheme on that play there. They had receivers crossing over the field and had a couple of open receivers, but again, Timken applied some good pressure, made the quarterback step up, and the ball fell short.
Think about one thing that I've always wondered, especially in my early years of covering high school sports. You never saw the tight end, you know, other than a blocker. He was basically an extra tackle. But you look at Gooch for East Canton, you look at Bruner for Timken, they're both very active in pass patterns.
Yes, and you know, Gooch was a quarterback, and we had long arguments before I took my administrative position on whether or not we were going to play him at quarterback and move Kyle Eric or the other kid, Pete Foltz. And they had, I guess, a great problem at East Canton having 3 fantastic athletes at the quarterback position. And they decided to move him to tight end, which is a great move because now he's a threat.
So we have a timeout on the field on this punting situation. 4th and 4 from the 32. We're inside 5 minutes to go. And we got a nice shot at your successor from East Canton. Hey, what's this shirt and tie situation here?
You know, that's something that Coach Patterson always wanted to do. And he was on me all the time about wearing a tie. And I said, you know, I wear a tie all day in school. You know, I'm going to relax on the sidelines. But, you know, he respects some of the great coaching legends of the game, Tom Landry and Coach Paterno out at Penn State. And he wears that tie, and it shows that, you know, he's a class act, and he is. And that's the type of person he is.
And of course, he doesn't have to travel very far to see the bust of Tom Landry right across the way. And of course, I've told people, how many places can you go and watch a high school football game and look right over the stadium and see the Pro Football Hall of Fame? We are indeed lucky to be here in Stark County. Such a great natural resource as high school athletics in general and high school football in particular. The punt is away by Kyle Eric on the run to pick it up, and a good decision for Pierre Betts. That had T for trouble written all over it, and somehow he put on the brakes and let the ball go, because that would have been a collision. The ball, the receiver, and the coverage all coming together at the same point. Nice play for number 20.
I tell you what, speaking of funny bounces there, say if that ball bounces the other way at that angle, that hits him, and that might be a turnover.
Yeah, that looked like kind of a wedge shot. I'm not a golfer, but it looked like that had some bite to it, so to speak. So, and kind of lost in all that. The funny bounces here. Good field position for the Trojans at their own 42-yard line.
This is a big series for them to go in at halftime with the score here.
Give this to number 9. Slicing over the right side, he broke a tackle. He's going to pick up about 8 yards on the play. Number 9 is junior Travis Walker.
Tackle made by Kyle Eric.
Kyle Eric on the stop. They'll mark it at the 49. 7-yard pickup, 2nd down 3.
And now we need to start looking. It's getting late in the first half, and start looking at that line play with the East Canton linemen turning around and playing both sides of the ball, and a lot of the Timken linemen are coming off the field. So time will show.
I told you about the tough time that the Trojans had last week at Canfield. The bright spot was number 11, Larry Rice, young sophomore, his first varsity catch. Good for 25 yards. He's on the wing, number 11, but they keep it on the ground. Quick hitter. First down, Jesse James in the East Canton territory. Going to mark it at about the 43. That's an 8-yard pickup and move the chains.
Two successive plays when the Trojans have gone inside, and their offensive line has won that battle up front.
And they deserve, again, a mention with Ray Hoover at center, the guards Terrence Miles and Matt Dreas, and the tackles Josh Yako, and along with Justin Stewart.
You know, those linemen don't get a lot of credit, but without them, you don't go.
And the NFL, about the only credit they get is when their number's announced for a holding penalty. And of course, we mentioned the tight ends as well. Bruner and Hosenbequez are both in there. And this time, good penetration by the East Canton defense. And nowhere for the Timken running back to go. And some nice sportsmanship there. I think that's Daniel John helping up number 9, Travis Walker, the ball carrier.
Walker tackled in.
Looks like McCauley was able to get through there in some type of stunt. Someone missed the responsibility, but he was through there before the back got the ball.
So we're back to a 2nd down, about 11. And we're looking at the 3-minute mark now before halftime. Walker will get a breather. Again, the double tight end set, the lone wide out, and he's been playing on a wing is Larry Rice, the young sophomore. It's Sean Barrett in there, along with Anthony Ruffin. Little mix-up there between Ruffin and Oler, and then penetration made by there's that nose man again, all 5'4", 150 pounds of Mickey McCauley all over the quarterback.
And that quarterback, Oler, did a great job of getting that ball off there. Great job. Instead of taking the sack and making it 3rd and about 20, now it's 3rd and 11.
Good point, Jeff, because McCauley was just draped all over him at the time, and he still had enough strength to get it away. Now, passing situation, so bring in the starting wideouts, Betts and Freeman on this 3rd down and 11 call. Freeman to the wide side. Betts comes to the near side. The tight end, Bruner.
You know, we haven't seen the fade yet out of Timken. They had success with that. And on this wide side of the field here, if they can get this ball up in the air, they have a shot.
Yeah, you've got one-on-one coverage.
And there it is.
And a little too tall. It's going to be intercepted. He stay in bounds? Yes, he did. With the pick is Steve Orwick. Talking to Coach Patterson, he said, Steve Orwick's a guy who combines both speed and strength. And he said, quite honestly, Scott, you know, last year he led the entire county. He averaged 29 yards a catch. And Coach Patterson said, Scott, we just have to get the ball to him a little bit more.
I tell you one thing that he neglected to say about Steve Orwick is he knows the game, and he uses his head as much as his athletic ability. And there he kind of expected a fade, and he played off the guy a little bit and made a great play.
That's a great one-on-one coverage there. So we'll see what East Canton decides to do at their own 17-yard line. What they really want to do is obvious. They want to take the lead, give to Jacobson, and met head-on by Bruner.
You know, that last interception by Oler looks bad on the stats, but it was great, and it was just like a punt.
Yep,
exactly. Without having to risk the snap and the punt being blocked. So
well, Timken was in a tough situation, and you know, you bring in your passing. Everybody in the stadium knew they were going to pass on that play, and East Canton rising to the occasion with the INT. Gain of 2 on the play, approaching the 2-minute mark to play here before halftime. And the score reflects the type of play we've had here, a 1-point difference, 8-7, Trojans on top. Now they get the ball almost like they were listening to us, and he broke a tackle. Steve Orwick with his first grab of the game.
Eric's pass cost.
That's an amazing stat, averaging 29 yards per catch over an entire season.
Gain of about 6 on the play.
I thought it was a typo initially. We've done some research, but the coach confirmed it.
He worked. He worked really hard in the off season. The year before, he ran track to increase his speed. He was a baseball player, and he improved. And people doubted his quickness, and he got behind him.
Third down, long 2. Eric calling out the signals. He wants to put it up, looking for number 19. Got the ball, got the first down, got inside the defender on the play. Larry Rice, but a nice grab and a good gain after the catch for junior Nathan Butler.
I think number 8 for Timken, Jesse James, is beating himself up right now mentally, because if he didn't stop, he would have ran right into that ball. And he hesitated, and the ball went right in front of him to the receiver.
And it's the second time in this game he's been, you know, this close to picking off the football. So first down, and now East Canton. The clock moving at the 1:30 mark, but they've moved the ball to their own 40-yard line, so a legitimate chance now to take the lead. First time, I believe, in this game, both wideouts to the same side. That's Stocker, along with senior Matt Boyle, number 18, who's kind of a slot man. Eric looking that way. Jacobson with the block, and a nice strong throw and a nice catch looking back into the sunshine for Matt Boyle, number 18.
Looks like East Canton made a commitment on this series to go to the air a little bit.
And he did get out of bounds, stopping the clock at 1:15 to go before halftime. Gain of 4, close to 5 on the play. Ball resting across the 44-yard line.
Again, we've got twins into the boundary this time.
So you've got a linebacker on the inside receiver, Eric. Running out of time as Petrak got to him downfield, and the ball is caught. Yes, indeed, down at the 25-yard line. That was a great grab, adjusting to the football, Butler, because the quarterback, Eric, hit as he threw the football, so it fluttered a little bit. Wide receiver making the adjustment, a big gain. That good for 31 yards, Jeff.
Yes, Butler started off as the inside receiver, and they ran down the field like they were going to run 2 goes. And then about 15 yards downfield, they crossed, and he got lost in that cross and was wide open.
Eric wasting no time. Slant pattern, ball caught, got by the cover man, and Freeman making the catch on Steve Orwick.
Again, Jesse James just inches away from having the touchdown.
Third opportunity, and East Canton wisely using a timeout here. 47 seconds to go, and what can we say, Jeff? If East Canton puts the ball and puts some points on the board, you talk about momentum heading into the locker room.
A lot of momentum, and then it also showed that they can come out and throw the ball a little bit. So it gives them another threat in the second half.
You know, we should mention, and several of the youngsters mentioned to me, you know, people may be looking on their TV sets and saying, I'm seeing double here. Isn't it unusual that both teams have the same color scheme? And you've got an inside story that takes that one step further, because we could have almost had matching uniforms.
Yes, I know the Timken home uniforms were also shown to me when I was the coach at East Canton. I told the guy to come back, get back with him on Monday, and I came to the Timken game, and I said, well, we can't have the exact same uniform, so we decided to go a little different.
That's a great story, though. You never know. I don't know if I've ever, in all my years of, I've probably been to about 250 high school football games. I've never seen two clubs with, almost. Of course, obviously, if you're home and away, it would be slightly different, but you almost had the same color scheme and the same style of uniforms there.
Yeah, I don't know if the guy was trying to make some money.
There you go.
If he
Maybe
could come
double
over,
down, huh?
Make one set.
That's right. Maybe an extra set under his sleeve that way. Well, we'll see what happens here. Second down, a yard to go. You want to get the first down first, and Jacobson does just that with a big hole, tripped up by Jesse James.
Jacobson on the carry.
We still got 2 timeouts. Might take one right here. We'll see what happens. First down. Ball just outside the 11-yard line. Clock stops with the moving of the chains. The 42-second mark. East Canton will conserve the timeout, but they're already up to the line of scrimmage. Watch out for Jacobson in the slot there. Again, matched up with a linebacker. But instead, they go over the middle. Ball's intercepted by Bruner. 10-yard line. Flag is down. 15 might go the distance. I think it might come back. Yet, the interception will stand, and Joe Stocker, a potential touchdown-saving tackle. 47 in the spotlight. Bruner, earlier in the game, picked up a fumble, ran it in. Now he picks off the football. We'll see, though. Was the flag because of pass interference, or was it on the return? We'll just have to wait and see.
Those are type of plays that make coaches have nightmares.
I think it's to be a block in the back on the return. That's what it is. I won't tell you who, but after the ball was intercepted, and it was tough on the young man. Again, I'm not going to mention a number. That's always been my policy in high school, but he kind of just fell on somebody, and the flag went down.
Yeah, he knew that it was him because him and another guy were discussing it down there around where the flag's
Well,
been.
I don't think the young man had much choice in the matter, but now your only situation here with 23 seconds to go, the INT will stand, but you're going to have the football at your own 2.5-yard line. So talk about be careful territory from the Timken perspective. The last thing you want to do is have trouble on an exchange, or because even a safety would give East Canton the lead going in the locker room. So
right.
This is going to be one critical play. Now, if I'm the coach from East Canton, I might even use my last couple of timeouts just to see if he can put some pressure on and cause a turnover here.
Yes, he has one timeout, and he'll probably call that to make one more snap.
Mm-hmm. And Timken, knowing the situation they're in, want to call a timeout as well. We've got a quick minute here. I'm going to warn our audio man that I'm going to do something that, here we go. Oh, Jeff, he's the guy who knows. I'm going to use the interview mic here. And we've got, when you think of Canton Timken, and you think of, the first name you think of, Jeff, is Mr. Harold, certainly. But I would think the second name you think of is Paula Raffalides, because she's a teacher. She's a coach, and I don't know anyone who works harder, to promote Timken athletics. And I asked Paula to join us to say, hey, Paula, what's going on as far as fundraisers and Booster Club and trying to promote what we're seeing here on the field today, among other sports?
Well, I am currently the president of the Adult Booster Club.
And I should call you Madam President?
Oh, yes, that'd be fine. We meet the second Monday of every month at Timken High School in T130. And it's at 6:30, and it's about an hour meeting.
Boy, Barrett, nice job. There's your room to operate right there. He was hit right at the goal line and worked his way out. Once again, give us the times and the room number.
We meet every Monday, once a month, in T130 at 6:30.
Great.
And it's about an hour meeting.
Great. Tell us some of the things going on, some of the fundraisers, some of the activities coming up.
On September 17th, we have open house at Timken High School at 6 o'clock, and we'd welcome everyone to come back to Timken or come and visit us, and we'll have a table there from the Booster Club. Our Booster Club pays for all our athletic and academic banquets for all the students. That's what we're about. And we give additional money to teams if they have any extra expenses that they need. We have 3 basic fundraisers. We have the 200 Club, which we're doing right now. We sell tickets for $10 each. We sell 200 tickets, and we pick 10 $100 winners. And we have the bonus bonanza coupons that we'd really appreciate if people could cut them out for us. They're in Friday Sports page, and you could send them to Timken or bring them to us. Any way we can get them, we really appreciate that. We also have a big dinner raffle, and it's going to be the first Friday in May this spring. And that's our biggest fundraiser. We make quite a bit of money on that, and we really appreciate people that help support us.
Yeah, we're at halftime here. Zola took a knee. They got what they needed as far as operating room. I always hesitate to ask this question because, you know, you're going to forget someone, but are there some individuals that we'd like to say thank you to? Are there some people with you with the boosters who, you know, year in and year out, event in and event out, help out, and we'd like to give some recognition to?
Yeah, most definitely. Earl Brown sells our programs for us, and he doesn't have any children at Timken anymore, so we really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Mr. Johnson does our announcing, and he also has daughters that graduated from Timken. We have Roy Kennedy. Kathy Monit's a teacher at Timken, and she's my vice president. And we have Betty Fortune, who has a son at Timken's, our treasurer. And Linda Dreas, who has a son on the football team that helps us out all the time. And Cheryl Morris helps us sell tickets. Gary Carr, former teacher, retired. Should say graduated from Timken also. And he's having his 40th reunion tonight. We just have everybody just comes out and helps us. Marge Finley came today to help us sell tickets, and she buys things from Timken. We have so many people that really do support us. I hate to mention names.
Yeah, well, that's I say. I put you on the spot, and I didn't mean to, but certainly the people you mentioned deserve that recognition. One more time now, if people are listening to this and they'd say, hey, you know, I'd like to help out. I've got some free time. I'd like to help the Trojan program. Let's talk about when they can either get a hold of you or when is the next meeting that they can come to and offer their support.
Okay, our next meeting will be in October. It'll be the first Monday at 6:30. We could use help at all our home games. We sell 50-50, and we sell programs. We could use all the help we can get.
Okay, Paula, thank you for stopping by. Always a pleasure.
Okay, thank you.
Paula Raffalides, head of the Booster Club, Madam President, as we might say. We're going to be formal here. She just gave me a shot for that. She's a good lady and does so much there at Timken Senior High School. Got the East Canton Band taking the field there. I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's listen to their first number, then I'll come back with Jeff. We'll talk a little bit about the